It is the start of the week, but most importantly, it's another episode of Jayo Sto Sports. And today I have my first guest with me, the lovely, the very sports educated, the multi-talented Jessa Braun. Thank you for taking some time out of your busy schedule and having a chat with me about the Women's World Cup. And you're a former NWSL writer, so you know about a bunch of the players in this tournament. Are there any exciting projects that you're working on for the Women's World Cup?
For the Women's World Cup. Well, first of all, thank you for those lovely words. I'm excited to be here. Thanks for having me on. Um, but yeah, right now for the World Cup, I'm writing for Opta Analyst about the US Women's National Team, and I think also the Canadian Women's National Team as well when there's projects to do about that. So I'm really excited to be providing that content on the Women's World Cup. And yeah, I already published some previews for both Canada and the US's groups for the tournament. So yeah, first two pieces are out there already.
So you heard that, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure you check out her previews. All right, so of course we're going to speak a lot of US Women's National Team stuff, but we gotta shout out some of the other nations. So this will be the last tournament, the last World Cup for the legend Marta. I just want to know, what is her legacy, and do you view her as a top 5 women's soccer player of all time?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, I think, and her legacy is just going to be huge. She is one of the biggest trailblazers in the women's game. And if you ask any of the younger players who are in this tournament, who are kind of up and coming, or even players, young players who have already established themselves, like they all grew up watching Marta, and so many of them say that Marta was their inspiration playing, and while they were striving to make their national teams and be at World Cups themselves. So I think just how Marta has had such a global impact on so many players internationally, like I don't think there's many. I think she's probably had the biggest impact in that sense. I don't think there's many players who can say that they've done that and shaped the game in that way. So yeah, her legacy will be unforgotten.
Yeah, no, she's so good. What she's done for Brazil, just soccer in general, is pretty impressive. Okay, so things aren't gonna be as easy for the US without their captain, Becky Sauerbrunn, who's out because of a foot injury. But I remember the first time we spoke, you mentioned a girl named Naomi Girma, and I watched her play, and wow, she can ball. Is that her spot in the back line to keep? She gonna be starting?
In my opinion, yes. I think she will be a starter. I think she is with this team to stay. I think that she will go down in history as one of the, well, I don't want to put this pressure on her so early, but I mean, I do think that she will be one of the greatest defenders that we have seen for the US. She's been off to such a great start, and like last year in the NWSL, she was nominated for like, I don't know, she rookie of the year, defensive player of the year, like MVP, like, and she was only a rookie at that point. So yeah, I think she will definitely be a starter in the back line for the US at the World Cup for sure.
Sticking with injuries, unfortunately, it's a part of the game. And Mallory Swanson, she had a knee injury. She will be out of the World Cup also. But 18-year-old Alyssa Thompson, the last 2 games, she's been starting in that position. When the World Cup does start, which is in a few days, do you think Alyssa Thompson stays on the wing? Or do you think that we see the 38-year-old Megan Rapinoe start on the wing? And it sounds crazy to me to say that because she looks like she's 21, 22.
Megan looks 21, 22?
Yes, to me.
Yeah.
It's like,
yeah, no, she does look very young. Yeah, I think I think Alyssa Thompson could start a couple games. I for sure think that's a possibility. And I do think that that's at this point more likely than starting Pino. Um, I think Pino's role in this tournament is going to be a game changer coming off the bench and just giving the team like a second half spark when they need it. Uh, if you look at the statistics from past World Cups, she has directly impacted 15 goals in the span of 17 games, which is pretty wild. And just her energy when she comes into a match is like everything that the team needs if they're in a slump. So yeah, I think she's going to be a leader off the bench. And the way that Alyssa Thompson has been playing in the NWSL, like she is more than capable of being like an effective starter with this team. I don't know if she will be a starter. I just think that she might be more likely to start than Megan Rapinoe.
Yeah, I could see that. And especially the veteran leadership off the bench too.
Mm-hmm.
So every World Cup has a group of death. And I was looking at Group B. I thought Group B to me was the group of death. It's Canada, Nigeria, Australia, and Republic of Ireland. But I want to hear from you. Where do you see this group of death? Which one? Even the US's group is a bit difficult. They have
Yeah,
Portugal, Netherlands, and Vietnam.
yeah, definitely. In my opinion, I honestly like looking at Canada's group, anything could happen in that group,
Yeah,
if I'm being honest.
yeah.
Like Australia has been having some great games lately, but Canada is more than capable of beating Australia. They proved that last year. They did that twice in a row. But Nigeria is right up there with them. Like, I know they're having a lot of problems with their federation right now, and that could be affecting their mental state while they're playing the games. But they're definitely going to be in tough competition with Canada and Australia. Like the three of those teams are going to be fighting it out for sure. And I mean, Ireland, like this is their first World Cup, but like I could see them coming out of the group stage. Like they could have a couple of good games. Like that's not out of the question. They're a solid side considering that this is their first World Cup. They're still going to be a tough team to beat. So, yeah, I think if I had to pick the toughest group, I would say that one.
Okay.
Yeah.
So sports betting is huge now, and the US's first game is against Vietnam. I'm gonna set the number at over under for 5. I don't know. Do you think the US get more than 5 goals in that game? I'm going over.
Yeah, I would go over. I think so.
So you
They're strong. They are strong. They're some favorites to win for sure.
Yeah, and they have a great problem on their hands. They have literally strikers for days. Trinity Rodman, Sophia Smith, obviously Alex Morgan, Thompson, Pino, as we already mentioned. Lynn Williams is there also. Do you think a lady I just mentioned will get the Golden Boot, most goals in the tournament, or maybe somebody from another team that we haven't spoke about as of yet?
Mm-hmm. I would say Sophia Smith. I think she's just these last couple of years has just been a goal scoring machine. So I definitely think that she's the most likely to get it. If I had to pick like I don't want to say an underdog, but someone who is less expected for that, I would say Trinity Rodman, just because I think this year specifically, she's been electric on the national team. And I definitely think that she could have like a breakout year with the national team. I mean, she's already proven herself time and time again in the NWSL, but with the national team, she's still kind of has yet to like prove herself as one of those top players on this team. So I think this World Cup could definitely be her time to do that, and I wouldn't be surprised if she got the golden boot. I think that's definitely possible.
Who is the team that you see that will give the US a run for their money?
Hmm. Um, well, I think if they I haven't looked at like the different paths that teams could take to the final recently. I looked at it a few months ago, but it's not fresh in my mind, so I don't know what the likelihood is of them meeting up with England. But if they do, whether it's in the final or earlier, like that's gonna be tough. England is a strong side. But yeah, I think in their group stage, like Netherlands is definitely gonna be their first real tough competition. I also think Portugal could come out and really challenge them. They're also in their group. But yeah, their first test is definitely going to be Netherlands for sure.
Yeah, and it's crazy because Netherlands and US were in the final in the last World Cup and now they're in the
Yes.
same group. How wild is that?
Yeah. Yeah, and they also had some fun at the Olympics and I think they went to a shootout in the knockout stage. So
Yeah.
they've definitely got some history for sure.
And also, I want to speak about Pino's new look. I think she has the turquoise color in her hair right now.
I love it.
Are you feeling the turquoise, or did you like the blonde better? Did you like the pink better? She
I
always, she
I
always
think the turquoise is sick. I love it. And I think it's a good look for the US because obviously one of their colors is blue, so she's really getting the spirit of things. Um, but I think it really looks good on her with the light blonde, like the turquoise and the light blonde. I think that's like a good combo.
She mentioned that this will be her last year NWSL. After this season, she's gonna hang up the boots. Do you think that she would be more happy to lift a World Cup or lift a trophy at the end of the year, NWSL title?
Um, I think World Cup. I think that's like the goal this summer for everyone on that team is to lift the World Cup.
Do you see the US lifting their third World Cup in a row, something that has never been done?
Yeah, I could definitely see them doing that. I think statistically on paper, they're the most likely to win the World Cup. So yeah, it's definitely in the strong realm of possibilities that it happens for them this year. But I do think it would, if they do, it's going to be a really challenging for them to get to that point because I think this World Cup is going to be super competitive and it's going to challenge them in a way that past World Cups haven't yet been able to do. So I definitely think if they win, then they would have fought really hard to get to that point.
And in the last few games, another girl that you mentioned to me when we spoke last time was Ashley Sanchez. And Ashley Sanchez is an absolute baller in the midfield. Do you think she keeps that starting role? Because we know Julie Ertz is back, but I feel like Ashley Sanchez is playing so well right now. It's kind of hard to take her out the lineup.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean the benefit of having those two together is that they do play slightly different positions. Like Julie Ertz is more defensive and Ashley is more of like an attacking midfielder. So I feel like it will be a big question of Ashley or Rose Lavelle because Rose also plays an attacking role, like in the 10, and they're both so good at it. I do think that Rose probably will get the start just because she's experienced on this world stage and in this big tournament. But I do think that Ashley Sanchez will get quite a bit of playing time as well. So.
All right, I have a spicy question for you. It's
Oh,
Jayo Sto Sports, so you know we gotta do what you gotta do.
yeah.
How do you look at these two couples, and who do you think is a cuter couple? Mallory Swanson and Dansby Swanson, or Jordan Heidema and Julio Rodriguez?
Oh, I mean, I don't
No,
really
no pressure, no pressure, no pressure.
I don't know too much about the relationships beyond the pictures that I've seen
On Instagram and Twitter
on
and
Instagram and Twitter. Like I haven't really read much into them, so I don't think I know enough to really give an educated opinion.
all right.
Do
I'll
you
uh,
have an opinion?
I'll I mean I think they both are cute, but I'll give you a pass. I'll give you a pass.
Wait, what I want to hear your answer though.
I hmm. I like both couples. I'm kind of on the fence. I'm not gonna choose. I was gonna go off a your answer and then
Okay.
give one, but since you're
Yeah.
not giving one, I'm not giving one.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So Canada women's national team, what is their ceiling? How far do you think they can go?
I definitely think that they could make the quarterfinals for sure. They're for sure a top 8 team in this tournament. It will be a battle to get to the final. They're more than capable of doing that, especially with the force of a back line that they have in Vanessa Gilles and Kadisha Buchanan in the center with Ashley Lawrence and Alicia Chapman. Like that's just yeah. And I also think Adriana Leon on offense, she has been scoring so many goals for them in the last year or so. Especially against tough teams like Australia, like they need Adrienne up there. So I think if they and also Jessie Fleming, she's been very solid for them, scoring lots of goals, especially. I don't know. They've got a lot of players that have been performing really well lately, so I could definitely see them going all the way. But yeah, against tough teams, like obviously they have a tough time against the US and I mean England as well, but England this is why I'm like maybe this could be their tournament. They tied England 0-0 in the closed door friendly before the tournament. I mean I know that's just like a for fun, like they're not going hard, they're not trying to get injured or anything, so I don't and nobody knows what happened in that game, so it's hard to tell just based off of scoreline, but yeah, quarterfinals for sure. Semifinals, I'm like 95% sure they can do that. Yeah.
We know you have spoke with a lot of players that are playing in this tournament. Are there any notable players where you had a chat with them and they have like a really good personality? Any funny stories that you are willing to share?
Mm.
Faves?
Any faves? I have such a bad memory. I remember I actually chatted with Christine Sinclair last year and really enjoyed that because I just think it's so funny how in her book she's just so blunt about how much she does not like the United States, like as a like playing them as a national team and just like the rivalry that they have. It's just so funny. So it was like funny talking to her about that. And I mean, I've never actually had a one-on-one with Rose Lavelle, but in every interview she does, I just like we've been in the same press conference and stuff before, but like and it's just always such a joy to hear her answers to things, just her love for dogs. And when the US was being interviewed about which Taylor Swift songs they like the best, she said Long Live, which is a very underrated song that not everyone really talks about that often. So when she said that, I was like, yes, Rose. Yes. So yeah, she's just such a wholesome person and just seems like such a fun person to talk to. And I hope that I get to do an interview with her someday.
I think you will. You're doing so much great work and I appreciate the time today. Continue killing the game. It has been a pleasure to have you on my channel. And everybody, please look out for articles from Jessa Braun, the one and only.
Ah, well, thank you for having me on. This has been great.